What do we say about that first innings of Team India? Because they managed to get 266 when they were actually 66 for 4 at one stage. So the last 6 wickets yielding 200 runs. And whether that makes for a winning score or not, we will ask the boys, Somesh Agarwal and Nikhil Popat. And of course, all you lovely people who are going to be tuning into this mid-innings review on cricket.com. My name's Avnish Hegde. Lots to talk about, lots to loathe, lots to love. But let's start with, of course, where do we start, boys? Do we start with the ball of the century that people are calling it across the border? Shaheen Shah to Rohit Sharma? Not really, right?
No. It was a good ball, very well set up, and deserving wickets, both of them. I think the break definitely helped in terms of the communication to him that he was going a bit too full. Just there is enough movement. Pull it a bit back, and he set it up Rohit perfectly.
Bro, when Rohit's wickets were kind of castled, so we looked at each other and we kind of got scared, you know. It's just like pretty much Indian fans. And then when he did that Virat, like my heart sank, man. I mean, talk to me about those two dismissals and his first 5 overs, Shaheen, 2 for 15. He was excellent and expectedly so.
Yeah, he was, but I think perhaps you looked at someone else. That was not me. I was I was not scared at any point of time in this innings because, like I mentioned, I'm seeing more this game as more of a practice game because the two more important games would be in the Super Fours and finals. But having said that, I mean, it's expected of Shaheen Shah every time when he takes the ball. The break also did not help Indian batters because it's not never the ideal situation to be in. Having said that, I mean, I just want to talk about one thing from an overall scheme of things. I think it was a very positive game for India, at least from in the first innings, to be honest. At every spot where they wanted to sort of test themselves, they were tested. Uh, I mean, kudos to Ishan Kishan, yeah. I mean, what more can he do? I mean, whatever has been asked of him, he's delivered. And that is, and at some point of time, see, you might sort of have question marks around his technique, his temperament, whatnot. But at the end of the day, what matters is, the actual delivery, which he is doing day in, day out across conditions, across roles, across different oppositions. So, I mean, kudos to him. It is going to be a very not so happy headache when KL Rahul is fit. Let's be very honest, because you really cannot sort of discard this innings, and whenever KL is fit, I mean, it doesn't make him a certainty to be part of this 11 because you can't drop a player like Ishan Kishan anymore because, like I said, he's been doing everything that has been asked of him.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people in the comments as well. Gurkirat, 1 second. Hello, hold on. First of all, you just randomly enter and then you intrude like this.
We were talking on WhatsApp. As soon as the innings ended, I logged in and I've seen he's already start. Okay.
Because my producer didn't know that you were going to do Cheska warm-up today and Cheska exercise and all that. I had to brief him. Now, let me come to things. Let me come to that partnership, Gurkirat, because it's 66 for 4. Be honest with me. How much faith did you have in Hardik Pandya and Ishan Kishan to bail us out in the situation that they put us in?
In Hardik, I had some faith because he's shown that in such situations he's been able to stand up, and given the kind of batter he's become, when he has time on his hands, he's someone who's able to pace his innings well. Right? I was quite disappointed that after doing so well, he couldn't really reach his maiden 100. I thought today's definitely got to be that day because on a couple of occasions he's played some very good innings. The two innings that which Anirudh had mentioned in his article. I keep going back to that article because it's a brilliant piece, and I'd really like viewers to read that on what has changed in Hardik post 2020 and how teams have targeted him, but still how he's batted. So I really thought that today could be the day where he would get his first ODI 100, but wasn't to be. But yeah, very impressed by how Kishan played. I mean, he's someone who you associate will probably bat in two gears, where it's either a dot or looking for a boundary ball or a boundary option. But he was far more circumspect. He was able to rotate strike, and even the boundaries that he hit. Some of the boundaries that he hit were grounded shots. They were not really aerial, wherein he was taking any risk. One shot that comes to my mind is the off drive of Nawaz and then going back and pulling Shadab both along the ground. So given the situation, it was very good of him that he had that in his mind and was trying to minimize risk as much as possible. But yes, I feel somewhere Babar Azam's captaincy also helped both Kishan and Hardik because
बाकी को तो बोलने दो सर, सब आप ही बोल दोगे तो हम चले जाते हैं.
Exactly. You have to calm down, son. You have to calm down.
Sorry.
And for all you 49 people watching, please like this because look, we were all enamored by that Ishan Kishan innings. Next, talk to me about Ishan Kishan because before everyone in India pretty much saying he can't bat a 5, strike rotation ka problem hai, ye hai, wo hai, but he silenced all of us. And how, yaar?
Yeah, I think kudos to him, as Somesh said. This is as good as it gets. There is no better occasion, conditions, and also opposition for you to come good against. And again, it's not that he wasn't tested. He had a good pace attack to contend with. He did that. And then he ensured that whenever spinners came on, he was positive. And I think that is something that's very refreshing, that he did not hang back or played into his shell, that we often complain about a few players, that they go into a shell and you don't put the bat ball away. That's what he did. And of course, to add to Paji's point, I think the captaincy was also, it helped India because it told you that they had kept a lot of overs of pace for the end, but they could have easily closed this game out far earlier. And it's not that you don't have to bowl spin. You have to bowl spin, but you had to mix it up with pace at one end and spin at the other. So that could have helped them. But in that sense, it's good that India got a score because then you get to see a better game. But for Kishan, he has done everything that is asked of him today. And I don't think there can be any complaints of any regards if he gets more games.
So is
And
it
again,
also
he batted at 5 only, so that is good. He batted at 5.
exactly. By the way, just a little quick CDC stat alert and lots more on the live blog and the analysis. The last time an Indian pair of 5 and 6 scored 80 plus scores in an ODI, it was, of course, Raina and Dhoni in that 2015 World Cup against Zimbabwe. More crazy stats like that on our platform, on the app, on the website, so go check it out. And please, all you lovely people, just like this video. It helps with the algorithm for other people to watch it as well. And we'll take all your comments coming through. We're here for the next 20 minutes, so don't worry about a thing. So about that partnership, 138, brilliant. And we were thinking, right, India back on track right now. Did they also get the benefit of the weather because there was no stoppages? It was a little bit of evening sunshine, and they actually got the pretty much the best evening conditions to bat it, or am I reading it wrong?
I think there was one stoppage, if I'm not wrong, or was it before Shreyas Iyengar's dismissal? There was
Before.
because there was one more stoppage. You gave us a stat. I think I'll give you one more stat. If I'm not wrong, there have been only 2 occasions when an Indian wicketkeeper batter has scored 4 50-plus scores in consecutive ODIs. Of course, Ishan Kishan, and before it was MS Dhoni, and both from Jharkhand, by the way. So our own Hardik would be very happy about that. Regarding that partnership, I somehow felt maybe it was just because the way they were batting, the ball was coming onto their bat a little bit better than the others. Maybe just because how they played it, but they were pretty sensible. Of course, see, the point is, this is something that while we were watching, we were discussing about Gill as well. That we were sort of not happy with him being at 0 or 10 balls or something. Everyone started comparing with him with, of course, KL, because that is the natural reaction to when such things are going on. But even then, the point was always that after 15 overs mark, Pakistan have no option but to bring their spinners in. So if Gill survives that initial phase, things are anyway going to be easier. So, and that is what happened with both Kishan and Hardik. But at the end of the day, you have to capitalize, and that is what they did. And even when the Pacers came in, they did not really come in as much as they should have because of Babar's decision making. But whatever challenges they were given, they sort of took care of it pretty well.
Yeah, because Shubman Gill got out in the 15th over, 14.1 to be precise, and that partnership kind of lasted pretty much to the 30th over. Gurkirat, you mentioned it right now. Babar was poor in terms of his captaincy. Elaborate on that, and elaborate in what else Pakistan could have done to stop that partnership blossoming the way it did.
Like how Nikhil was mentioning, they could have gone for 2 over spells to Rauf and Naseem from one end, because I think from the 15th over to the end of the 35th over mark, there was only two overs of pace, which were bowled by Shaheen. And I just think that the template was quite clear that we want to save paces for the end. it was evident that the spinners weren't causing any sort of discomfort to the pair. And it's not that you really can't bowl spin at the death, because we've seen Jadeja to struggle against spin. Even Shardul prefers space as opposed to spin. So I think it's something that we see with a lot of captains. They are just very stubborn in their plan is, and they are not open to flexibility, and that's what happened to with Babar today. Also, you could say that maybe the spinners could have bowled slightly better, someone like Shadab, but on the whole, you really can't say that that Babar did everything right. There were some obvious mistakes due to which the game got a little out of grasp. So yeah, there's that bit. But before I joined in, you guys were talking about how it would be difficult to drop Kishan, and KL might have to sit out. I believe if Shubman Gill doesn't score runs, or has a very middling tour, even his spot could come under question, which is something what Somesh had said in the preview, because his today's innings was really bad. I mean, he looked all over the place.
Speaking of him, did you rate his innings next? Because initially, obviously, he was losing wickets around him, so he was in two minds. Could Shubman Gill have done anything different today or better in hindsight?
See, I think he tried. It was just one of those days, and we've seen that from the West Indies tour, that his look short on time, which is very, very surprising for somebody like him, because he's someone, when he was playing in the IPL, you felt that he had that extra time to read the length and respond to that. But even today, when you saw the ball was moving, at times he was very late into his shots, and that can happen. You can get into a phase where suddenly you don't feel like your trigger and everything is in entire sync. So that's where I feel all these games will be critical. And again, he's going to play in conditions that are going to be testing. So there is no better time to get better or test yourself in these conditions than otherwise. So I think there will be a lot of pressure on him, and it's in terms of fluency, because you compare him with Shreyas Iyer. Shreyas had looked very good. He looked in good. He looked to be moving well. Even the ball that he got out to, he hit it well. It was just that he found the fielder. He found the fielder, but it wasn't that he was mistiming it or whatever that is. But that was the case with Gill. He clearly looked out of touch, maybe if you want to call it that. So there are things for him to work on. As Paji said, it could be really tricky if Kishan goes up to replace Gill, and that could be really massive for him as at this point of time in his international career.
Yeah, even Pranav Anand jumping into the comments and saying even if Gill has a very bad Asia Cup, Som, he'll be a lock. India already made a late decision to make him permanent opener after looking past Dhawan. They wouldn't tinker again. What if Kishan fails too? I mean, there are always ifs and buts in any sport and any team, but he makes a point here, Pranav Anand. So,
Yeah, I mean, but the point is, Ishan Kishan has done well as an opener, right? I mean, that is what has kept him in the squad in the first place. Because, like we said, whatever has been asked of Ishan Kishan, he's done well. Whenever he's given a chance to open, he's done well. Today, number 5, he has done well. So the point is, see, if anyone can fail, to be honest, I mean, even if you talk about the captain, Rohit Sharma, he's not in the form of his life. So, before the match today, we were discussing about how Hardik Pandya has not really contributed with the bat. So, I mean, failure can be, can come to any player. But the point is, what happens with Ishan Kishan and the team is the team looks a lot more settled because of that left-hander factor. Because you actually cannot discount the fact that because there was a left-right combination in the middle, the spinners also could not sort of settle in the rhythm. Just think about them bowling to two righties instead of a Kishan. Probably they would have been a lot more settled in. So you cannot discount that fact.
Yeah, you can't discount that fact. And I don't think we are personally, but lots of people around on Twitter especially discounting that fact. And everyone will have their own opinions, guys. Enough of the India's batting. Is 266 enough? Because right now, in about 10-15 minutes time, Gurkirat, Bumrah will be at it, Siraj will be at it, Hardik Pandya will definitely bowl in the power play, I presume. Forget Shardul Thakur. How can India stop Pakistan chasing what is effectively less than run a ball?
Goes without saying, but early wickets would be the key. If India are able to get at least two in the first 10, it would really set up the game for India. And I believe this is a good total on this pitch because there's help. The ball will swing, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a good Siraj spell.
Yeah, do you agree with Mia Magic loading? Because of course there's Imam and there's Fakar. Do you think he's the man to prize out those two southpaws?
Good, because if my memory serves me right, also been better against left-handers as opposed to right-handers, so he could. But yeah, I do feel that India have the runs to defend this total. I wouldn't really say that, Pakistan are overwhelming favorites at this point. I'd probably say it's 50-50. uh, yeah, I would have liked maybe 20 odd more runs, which I had made in the prediction, but India will take 266 after being 4 down under 70 without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. 200 runs from that precarious position, like I said at the top of the show. Next, we'll keep firing the questions and you can just keep jumping in. By the way, it's a good reminder for all you guys watching right now. Keep your questions coming through. Sushant, Prashant Agarwal, Vikram Mohanty, all the usual candidates, but also Stavan Pota, thoughts on Rohit and Kohli's dismissal. We'll get to that. We'll all have our say because I have some things to say about that as well. But answering SK's question, Nix, will Shami be missed or not really? Because India have all the weapons apart from a left armor.
Yeah, I think just before coming live, we were discussing about this, about Shami Siraj, and Paji had some good insights to make there. So I'll ask him to add there. But see, that is the thing about when somebody is not playing, invariably the player always feels that you will miss them. But Shardul has done well. He's been the highest wicket taker in this format since the 2019 World Cup. So there is a reason for that. He's taken you wickets whenever you wanted him to, and that is the way you reward that consistency by giving him a spot in 11. Now there will be days when he will not make runs like he did today, but you have to be very fair in your expectations of what do you expect of him. Now there is you can look at that 266 for 4, 266 allowed, but they were also 200 out for 4, and then they still ended up with 266. So there is room for improvement there, and he will get better. But who else do you drop? There is no sane person can drop Bumrah right now. Siraj is the number one ODI bowler. Unless you have different things and different format to think about, you'll not drop to drop him. So there is no other person that you can drop. I do want to ask both Somesh and Gurkirat whether they think Jadeja is a lock. But that's a discussion that we can have later. I feel for now, Shardul should definitely start. To fit Shami, I don't think there is space.
Okay. Jaddu, we'll just speak on Jaddu because it's a good point that Nix has brought up, and I was actually going to bring it up at some point in time in this show because even Ganesh N, who's watching right now, Ganesh, thank you for your comment and subscribe if you're new, please. What about Jadeja? He goes on to ask Som and Gurkirat. He's still not the all-rounder who does a job in white ball cricket 10 years and still. Ganesh, you're watching a different game, my friend. Come on, cut Jadeja some slack, dude. Come on. I mean, do you agree with him here, Som?
Yeah, for me, he's a lock. I mean, the point is, ऐसे तो फिर कोई lock नहीं है यार. Who is locked then? I mean, if let's say if Kohli finishes this Asia Cup without 100, people will start questioning his spot as well. So the point is, I mean, you can't have a settled 11 like that. I mean, the point is, the reason why in the modern era this Indian team doesn't feel like a team is because the same players don't play often, which they need to. Because the point is, everything is, it feels very fidgety. You want to just try someone for the sake of it. Don't do it. I mean, Jadeja, I mean, I don't know what games the said person is watching, but I mean, he's a clutch player and he contributes in all the three. He's a proper 3D player. And why would you sort of, rock that ship? Why would you fix something which is not broken?
No, I agree with you. And Jadeja is a definite must-have. But Gurkira, take this to Neelan Kandan, and you can, of course, elaborate on it because Akshar Patel plays for your beloved franchise Delhi Capitals. Should Akshar Patel play ahead of Shardul? And he goes on to say he's a left-hander and use him as a floater, even though I'm a Shardul fan. Fan ही बोल रहा है भाई. Paji?
Akshar for Shardul can only happen on pitches which are slow and low. Maybe if you are playing in Chennai, maybe if you are playing at Kotla, or you play at Ikana where the pitches are turner or it's an abrasive surface. Otherwise, it cannot happen. See, you need 4 pace bowling options. Otherwise, you will have to go back to Siraj or Siraj or Shami, Siraj or Bumrah in the middle overs. And Shardul's been constantly improving as a bowler. 2022 was his best year as a ODI bowler. His economy rate, which has been his biggest concern, came down under 6. It was 5.6, 5.7. And his overall career average and career strike rate are both below 30 right now. Yes, economy is slightly on the higher side, but he can compensate for that by contributing with the bat. So coming to Jadeja, I just feel that uh, what has happened is that post 2019 World Cup, Jadeja has also not played a lot of ODI cricket. In fact, India also did not really play a lot of ODI cricket. So and when Jadeja's bowling was struggling, you had Akshar Patel do well with the ball. But right now, Akshar Patel is also not the same force with the ball. So it becomes very hard to then replace Jadeja with someone like Akshar Patel, because you want whosoever replaces him can guarantee you better returns. And at this point of time, that guarantee is not there. Yes, I personally feel that there's a lot more that Jadeja can do with the bat. I personally feel that uh, there are still days where he will bat like someone who's in his first year of international cricket, where he will not show the game awareness which is sometimes required while batting with the tail. My mind goes back to that ODI in Chennai versus Australia, where he just had to play out that Zampa over, and then Stoinis was to bowl remaining 2 of the 4 overs, and he had the skill to take runs out of Stoinis, but he still went for a high risk stroke and got out. So that is where sometimes I get frustrated with Jadeja the batter. So there is that. And like Sumesh said, if Jadeja is not locked, then then it's difficult to really lock anyone. He's what people need to understand is he's not played a lot of ODI cricket, and whatever ODI cricket he's played 3 matches, 4 matches, gotten injured. So very difficult to really judge him that way. But you would want him to show a lot more game awareness while batting with the team, regardless of the format, because that's been a problem with him, whichever format it might be.
I agree. And Deepak Madhur going on to say and hold Somesh's words here. Same problem is a combination, Somesh, sir. Jadeja can't attack, bro. I love how he said sir and then bro. He never won a game.
I'd take bro all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to be respectful and then he just said bro. But he makes a point saying he never won a game of winning position 2. Remember versus Afghanistan in 2018 Asia Cup. I remember that game. But yeah, okay, fine. We get the point.
But I mean, this is being nitpicky.
Exactly.
I mean, you're talking about a team which have a very good spin attack. Maybe that's the reason. I don't distinctly remember what happened in that game, but I'm just assuming that he probably could have struggled against spin.
This is the game that got tied. This is the game that got tied.
Yeah, I know the result, but I don't remember what happened with Jadeja. So the point is, if you're talking about tackling pace, he's actually as good as anyone in this 11.
Yeah.
So, and if you're batting at 7, more often than not, you would come out at a time when you will have to face only pace. So, I mean, for me, it's a no discussion.
But fine. His average with the ball post ODI World Cup has been on the higher side. It's been around 55, 56. So that is a concern. But again, it comes down to the fact that he's not played regular ODI cricket.
With the ball, I think even Jadeja, even Akshar's numbers won't. Aksar is not a wicket taker. He has
that's
been
what I'm saying. To replace an incumbent player, you need someone who's been doing better. And off late, if you look at this IPL, and now people will say that you shouldn't really mix formats, etc., etc. But with people like Jadeja who've been around the circuit for so long, you will invariably end up mixing formats, because he really bowled well in this IPL. He bowled like a proper spinner. So you'd expect him to carry that confidence into the ODI format and do well, especially when the ball will get slightly more older, pitches will get tired, it's a long tournament, so his bowling can come into handy. So Jadeja is a very, very difficult puzzle that way. Do you want to drop him? Do you not want? You'd rather stick with him and hope he does well, because he's done it in the past.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a clutch player, yeah. And time and time again, we have seen, no matter how much you analyze, you can't sort of pinpoint what makes clutch players click. No one wanted Ben Stokes in their. No one had Ben Stokes in their first 11 for the World Cup, but look what he did. At the end of the day, he finished the game. Look at Jadeja, what the knock that he played against New Zealand in the 2019 World Cup. No one expected him to. He had an awful IPL, but then again in the final, it sort of clicked. So, yeah, Nikhil.
See, just on the Stokes bit, I don't think you can define. Please first clear which World Cup you're talking about.
The T20 World Cup, yeah.
So that isn't clutch. Nothing that Stokes did in that game was called. Can you call it clutch?
Not. I mean, see, the point is, I agree with you. Ki wo target jo tha, that was in his ballpark. But at
Exactly.
the end of the day, see, वही होता है ना कि बात उसी पे आती है.
Yeah, but I like Jadeja, but I wouldn't really say that he's
Yeah.
clutch.
So
I'd say
far, we
Hardik.
haven't seen enough. Yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
agree with him. Yeah.
we've seen only one great innings of note, but apart from that, it's been a long career. There have been instances where he's not done well. I mean,
Yeah, but
Champions
across
Trophy.
formats, I mean, we can go back to that Lord's 2014 test as well. When you don't, he's like that Shardul Thakur at times, right? When you don't expect him to
In
deliver,
test
he does
matches,
deliver.
in test matches, it is unquestionable
Yeah,
to.
but it's an overall thing, right? Ultimately, with Stokes also, it's an overall thing. You can't just point out at a format where the reputation of Stokes being a clutch player has developed because of his contribution across formats.
No, I think it's mainly got to do with the World Cups. But
No,
okay.
Generally, guys, I'm actually agreeing with Som here, because if you have someone like Jadeja, even if he doesn't contribute with the bat or the ball, in the field he'll just give you something ridiculous, like that Ross Taylor run out everyone remembers, that Steve Smith run out everyone remembers, that Afridi run out. I mean, and he didn't have games to remember, but he has some say in that game. And we'll leave that Jadeja chat there because there are lots of questions coming through. By the way, all you people watching, like this video and please subscribe if you guys are new, and tell us in the comments what you think will happen in the second innings, because there is a little bit of weather concern, the covers are still on and all of that. But we have to address the elephant in the room in terms of the first innings, which was, of course, this question from Stavan Porter. Thoughts on Rohit and Kohli's dismissal? It was trending, it will trend. It's pretty much the similar themes coming back from the past, the left arm demons, guys. Now, I know Rohit maybe was undone because of the stoppage in play, and it was just a peach of a ball. Kohli, I just think he was mentally already saying that he wants to play at certain balls, and it was a chop on wicket, like our live blog man said. But Nix, you start by picking the bones out of both the dismissals, and I'll try to get the pitch map of Shaheen as well out while you do so.
Yeah, see, I think I was very, very happy with the way Rohit started the game. I think he was picking lengths very well and lines as well, because you saw him play those play those controlled pushes of the crease, and then he was able to block out the full ball as well. What maybe did help him was the lengths were maybe predictable from Shaheen, which you can see from your screen, that he was a bit more full then, and then when he got back, you can see the length is back. It's further in that red mark where it's 66% was length, and then it is just too good a ball to get when you are just coming back off a break and he's pushing it away, and then he gets one to come in, and then you are caught in the crease. So I think with Rohit, I'll probably give him that maybe the rain break just really made him lost his momentum. Something that people don't agree with, but it is something that will keep coming back to him. That it is a common pattern of dismissal with him. It may not only be by one particular bowler, but that angle has troubled not just him but many right-handers. Come to Virat, I think, as you said, sometimes it's just about wanting. Some people want to leave early, some people want to have bat and ball, and that's what I felt got Virat, because he left the one ball previously just before that, and then the next one just came in, and I actually found it a bit unfortunate that it got the edge and just had to go back to the reserve. It could have easily missed the stumps or could have taken the edge and gone to the fielder as well. But I think with the new ball, when the ball is doing so much, you need that bit of luck. And with India, if you want to I'll look at it this way. Let's get all the dismissals here and do have the luck going for you in the World Cup.
Seriously, I mean, but that shot, Som, that Virat played of Naseem, I mean, it made the whole office go, oh my God, what a shot that was.
It made the whole office go, oh my God, and it will come in your dreams tonight, I'm sure.
100%. It'll come in your dreams as well. You've made a living out of Virat Kohli and slandering him.
I mean,
स्लैंडर कर रहा हूँ तो वो विकेट आएगी तो चौका धरना है स्लैंडर कर रहा हूँ.
And it's such an apt time because 82 people are watching, and if you guys know, that's a Virat Kohli number as well. But look, literally, so I just wanted your thoughts on Rohit and Kohli dismissal before we move along and just talk about India's bowling plans. How did you judge them, or do you think it's just an aberration?
There is a very good stat about Rohit. We will have that stat when we come back for the post match, because उसके लिए भी कुछ बचा के रखते हैं. Rohit is exceptionally timid against full length ball when he plays Pakistan. There is some mindset issue because, and the stats say so. I'm not saying that. We will have that stat for you when we come back. Avnish, do remind me.
For sure.
Of course, the ball was very good. There was rain interval, so obviously that sort of went against him. Kohli, that shot against Naseem Shah was proper alpha. That was one battle that I was looking forward to, like I said in the preview as well, and that shot really made me feel very good about everything, about life in general. But then, but then Kohli did something that he sort of advises everyone else to not do. Go half-hearted into a shot, because the point is, if you would have left it, good decision. If you would have went the full Monty, probably it would have been 4 or something. But it was a tentative shot, which is not often what Kohli even advocates, even for himself. And he, more than anyone, will be more disappointed with the selection of, or with the execution of what he did.
And like Nikhil said in the preview, it's a bilateral series that India are playing Pakistan in right now, right? So Kohli will come good. It's just a matter of time. Gurkirat, really quickly, before I get to the India's bowling plans with you, I just want to shout out people who are returning to this platform. Indian Peter Pan, I think you return after a really long time. I think you used to join us in our watch-alongs last year or the year before that. So welcome back.
I expected Avnish to say something which is more Gen Z, long time no see or aisa kuch.
No, I've been those. By the way, Kavan Kumar, negative vibes. Don't entertain such negative vibes, really. Essentially, I know that you have an opinion and you're entitled to it, but it's all right. I hope Somesh is okay. These days he says weird things saying Kavan Kumar. I don't know if you know him, Som. But Indian Peter Pan saying, yes, it's been long, guy. Kohli's essentially become the number 6 player, hit or miss, can't rely. Ouch. And introspect going on to say, not worried about Kohli or Rohit. Gill is more problematic. Good game to test our middle order. And the rest of the guys saying a lot of things. Right. So before we get into that, go on, Som.
We have not talked about Bumrah's batting, guys. Come on.
I was just going to come to that. I was just going to, before we go into the second innings, let's have a word for the best batter of the first innings that India showed. And Bumrah, first of all, over long gone for Shaheen, over long gone for Haris Rauf. Gurkirat, I mean, he ended Broad's career prematurely. We know that. But now he's doing it to Pakistanis as well, bro.
Yeah, ever improving cricketer. Regardless of what what discipline it might be. I feel he's also become slightly better fielder. But let's not just get to it. But yes, see, one thing that I feel really differentiates him from other lower order batters is that he genuinely uses his brains. He genuinely uses his brain. He rarely does the blind slogging, and that's something that you like about him. And yes, I mean, he's making comeback after so long. Whatever he does, you really feel like, oh, you've missed him.
But so why does he bat lower than Kuldeep, guys? Surely he gets a promotion ahead of Kuldeep.
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. I think the time has come that promotion should happen.
Yeah. I think the everyone trusts Kuldeep's defensive game a lot more, and that is how they decide the batting order. But yeah, I mean, till Bumrah happened, I was sort of not worried, but I was just thinking that Whites would be the third highest scorer for India today. But then Bumrah happened, so he outscored Whites by 1 run.
He outscored Whites by 1 run. Next, I want to just ask you this. What is India's biggest enemy in the second innings? Is it something like dew? Is it something that the rain around and then chasing teams normally prefer that, knowing that the DLS is around? Any other problems that India have to really watch out for in the second innings?
See, I think it's not a problem. I think it's good to get used to those conditions. That's what we talked about for the batting side as well. That these conditions are what you expect in the subcontinent, and you may experience them in the World Cup. So if it's 266 and you feel that the dew may come in or the ball may come onto the bat better under lights, then maybe you are 20 or 30 under par. So good to then have a bowling unit which is probably your best, and where you ask them to go now defend this score. So whichever way you look at it, I find it a better way in terms of you test yourself with whatever you have. And you have 3 good pacers, good first change option in first change as in second change in Hardik and Shardul as backups. And then you also have Kuldeep. But to me, the game that I'm looking for is the first 10 overs. It was the first 10 with the bat, and it is the first 10 with the ball, because Bumrah and Siraj together, it is as good as it can get. Yes, one guy is coming back from an injury, but I think it is something that the entire unit will struggle with, because if you see, Jadeja didn't play a lot of ODIs. Shreyas is coming back. Kishan is playing out of position. Then this bowling unit is playing together for the first time. So there are a lot of things that has to click together. but no better time to try out whatever you want to try.
I mean, I'm just kind of going to ask you guys, not second innings predictions, because we all got our predictions wrong. I mean, there was no one even close because we all said 300 plus. Who's going to get Babar Azam out? Many people reckon it's Siraj in the chat.
I didn't
People
say
thinking
300.
Shardul. What are you going for? Gurkirat, who do you think is going to get Babar out? Kuldeep again, Deja Vu 2019.
I'm going for Bumrah. Maybe Hardik could also be a good option.
सारे नेम बता दो ना. Maybe ये वो भी
Like दो ही
है.
लिए मैंने.
Hunas Giriya
दो
end
ही
से
लिए.
ये डालता है. Jadeja भी, like, you know, in the 44th over might get something to turn.
I said only 2 names.
Okay, so
Bhai,
you going?
sorry,
you
if Babar is batting into the 44th over, then I don't think we'll be in a good spot unless he's the only one batting there.
Yeah, I'm going for Babar Azam not out.
Babar, how dare you? Let's disconnect Somesh from the chat. I'm not even joking. No. Just fun and games, guys. Chachan saying it's raining. Kuldeep, I think many people think Kuldeep will get Babar out. And we have Indian Peter Pan asking Gurkirat the question, which is a good point because Shaheen ultimately 4 for 35 and Naseem also getting a 3 for. But here he asks us, and everyone wants to know this, yaar, why can't Bolt, Stark, Shaheen, I'm guessing even Wasim Akram comes out of the commentary box and bowls to Virat and Rohit, they'll struggle. They will struggle.
See, Shaheen, I'm not sure if this is a Shaheen specific problem or this is a left arm seamer specific problem because Shaheen's getting out anyone and everyone early on. See that is a very tough angle to play, and one of the difficult parts about that angle is that even if it's a straight delivery with where the ball's not moving at all, with that angle it will still leave you, and you will always be sometimes be caught in a position where you are playing with the angled bat. You know,
So
somewhat like
technically,
how
can they do something better? Technically, I mean, we saw how Virat was also kind of taking that Chandrapal-esque stance slightly wide off it, but they have to learn their lessons, surely, Gurkirat.
See, very difficult for me to comment on the technique bit because
You have
my
an
experience is
immaculate front foot defense. You have an immaculate front foot defense.
my experience is only playing till school level, and not that I was not even playing right arm pace as well. Forget playing left arm pace as well. But I think the one way, you know, from what I have seen, some batters succeed against left arm paces that they try and commit to one line, which is probably the first line. So if the second line, which is the ball, you know, the line after the ball pitches, is leaving you, then don't be okay with getting beaten. I think sometimes what happens is when you start getting beaten on the outside, you try and make that adjustment again, and then you get caught at somewhere in between. And I think that is how Shaheen set up Rohit today. He bowled to which left him, and then to overcompensate, Rohit went slightly towards, you know, his off stump, and the ball came back in. So I think the one way to play it could be to commit to the first line of the ball, and you know, maybe then hope and have a little bit of luck that you're able to succeed with that. Because I think if at that pace you are thinking about playing both lines, or you know, first trying to commit to the first line and then trying to change to the second line, then it could get really difficult. So that is the only thing that, you know, comes to my mind. And there is there there is no there is no evidence that, you know, just because I have said this it would be correct. You know,
That I was just coming to that. I was just
right?
coming to
Paji,
that.
ये तो हुआ नहीं. Paji ने खुद कौन सा किया है? Paji is also himself, you know, trying to visualize and guess. It's very difficult. It's one thing to visualize and completely another to try and fix it.
Okay, I love the
Paji is
humility.
struggling to face English in the
For
nets.
sure. Let's just
People
give
need to
you and
understand.
some breaking news to the viewers as well. Apparently, the covers are still on in Pallekele, and it's going to be a rain curtail game. But there'll be a chase for sure. Hopefully, India can make inroads quickly whenever they come out. Lots more questions to take, so don't worry. We'll be around for a little bit longer, I should say. Let's take another question from Just Cricket, Som, because he says, how do you guys see this innings from Kishan in the long term? Sure, it's done him a world of good, but can...
Good news for him, bad news for KL, awkward for the management.
So he'll play Nepal as well, right? He'll play the Nepal game as well.
Of course.
Nepal के लिए तो वैसे भी KL is out. The point is what happens after that.
But will he even bat against Nepal? Not essentially.
I mean, ये मैं कैसे
Don't
बताऊं?
take-
मतलब I can only.
Don't take Karan Casey lightly.
Yeah.
Don't take Karan Casey lightly. I mean,
I
yeah,
just
okay.
want to say one thing. That is,
And they have Rajbanj as well, right? Who's the slow left arm bowler. So you never know. You might
I
need.
just want to say one thing. There is nothing long term anymore. It's
Yeah.
about the next 1 month. क्या long term क्या है अभी?
मतलब
सिर्फ
अभी
मतलब
तो
एक महीना है.
ओडीआई का लॉन्ग टर्म क्या है ये नहीं पता लोगों को वर्ल्ड कप के बाद.
ना
Okay,
ODI
let's.
का पता है ना मैनेजमेंट का पता है किसी का long term कुछ नहीं पता. It's just the next 1 month.
Yeah, with the Indian cricket team, you just never know, guys. But Saurabh Chauhan asking us another question because he'd love to get, I'm sure, Nikhil, Gurkirat, and Somesh's thoughts on this. Would you drop Shardul in place of Shami? Moreover, Shami can also contribute 10, 15 like Boom did today. Also, we'll get Shami a proper bowler quality.
No,
I mean,
No?
no. I will
Why?
not drop Shardul. I will
Because
not
are
drop
you
Shardul.
so are you getting seduced by Shardul the batter or just being the bowler that he is? Sorry,
No,
not
it's
seduced, but like conviction.
it's a combination of factors. Shardul's really improved with the ball in the middle. Post the 2019 World Cup, Shardul has picked the second highest wickets for India in the middle overs. First is Kuldeep, second is Shardul. And Shardul's really improving. People are just thinking that Shardul is getting picked on the basis of his batting quality or batting depth. If that was the case, then someone like they would have just stuck with someone like Akshar Patel at 8. That's not the case. There have been other players who've tried to do well with the bat and not done anything with their primary skill. That is not the case. I'll keep repeating this. And if I could just find the link, I want to plug that article which Hardik did recently just before India's first game. He spoke about the 3 or 4 bowling combinations that India can go in with, and outside of Shardul, the highest average that Indian bowlers have with the bat is that of Kuldeep Yadav, which is 10.5. Shami's batting average is 8.5. Shami might be able to swing on his day, but if you were to ask that who gives you more guarantee of runs or who's more likely to score runs, you will say it is Shardul. And Shami's wicket taking ability with the new ball has gone down in ODIs. His economy rate is also on the higher side. It's not that Shami's been setting the stage on fire in ODIs either. So people are, I think people, what happens is that sometimes people also get seduced by that position which Shami is able to present so many times. Yes, that is there and that looks beautiful, but it's not that he's able to do it day in and day out in every format. We've seen him struggle with consistency even in test matches outside of Asia. So I just think it's just
this is that article that you were
yes, this
talking
is
about, right?
exactly that article.
So you
There
guys
are
can go
some
check
very
it out.
good numbers and graphs in this, which will actually help people understand why Shardul is being preferred as a number 8.
Yeah, I mean, you can just go check it out. Mohammad Shami in ODIs, as you can see over there, since 2020, he's an average of 31.2 and a strike rate of 30.7. But the numbers here, Gurkirat, they're talking about is, of course, Shardul's numbers as a bowler in one-day internationals. And as you can see there, so lots more on that article. I'll stop sharing the
So
screen right
post
now.
2020, both Shardul's strike rate and average is below 25.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
outstanding.
for sure.
And Shami's economy is 6.1 post
Yeah, so
2020.
many people might have that illusion of Shami just being a good bowler, but it's not been there recently. Changing the topic, changing the question, and I'd like to throw this to Nix and Somesh. Sorry, not this one. We'll take Deepak's question in just a bit. This is a super important question because even here, with KL waiting in the wings, guys, honestly, if you guys were Al Dravid and just be biased here, be subjective in your calls, who would you like? Iyer
You want
or KL?
you want us to be biased, okay? But
Be biased.
I'll let Nikhil take this first because he's been quiet for a while.
Fine, sure. Nix?
See, I think in whatever has happened, if it is both are fit, I'll take Shreyas at 4 and KL at 5. As good and as straight as it has been. They both have done respectively well at their positions, and if KL comes back here, Kishan can do well in the Nepal game as well. But you want to give KL game time and see if he's fit. If he's not fit, then he stays back and Kishan continues to bat at that spot. But if it's not the case, if both are fit, I don't think there is any reason to not take them.
Okay, so you agree with him?
I want to, But the point is, again, I mean, it seems unfair to Ishan Kishan right now, because as much as KL deserves the spot at 5, there is no doubt about it. He nailed it. But the point is that injury, I mean, you can put it down to luck or whatever, it has come at a wrong time. And someone else who's given a chance in your spot has done well. And it also solves a bigger problem for India. I mean, my biggest pet peeve, not having any left-hander. So so ultimately, if it comes to picking one of Shreyas and KL, I'll pick Shreyas because of his ability to play properly attack spin, because that's a proper role that Shreyas has. Even today, I mean, he was looking so silky till that shot. Even in that shot, he played like he timed it too well. So it can happen, but it was net. I feel this was a very positive innings for India. I mean, it's tough to find a negative here apart from the expected Rohit dismissal.
Yeah, or the Kohli failure. Akhil Nair, meanwhile, going on to say this regarding the left arm fast angle. I believe it would be hard to prepare for it because we don't have the resources. And Aniket Chaudhary is in stark pole to Shaheen. Absolutely. I think even if you saw those Alur visuals closely, India did opt for, who was it? Yash Dayal, Aniket Chaudhary himself. There was a couple of other left armers bowling at the batters. Gurkirat, with rain around, Ijaz Ali going on to ask, is DLS going to help Pakistan here or India?
DLS is designed in a way wherein it helps the team chasing, and if see, whenever the rain came in during India's innings, the overs weren't cut short. If the overs would have cut short, then probably there would have been some reconfiguration or recalibration of the target. But India batted their full innings, so the runs are not going to change. I mean, the target will change, keeping in mind that India's got their full resources, utilize their full resources over the course of 50 overs, and that way it would be changed. So I don't see how DLS is going to help India. Maybe if India had not lost all their wickets or overs were cut short before India completed their batting innings, then in that case it would have in some way. But here in this scenario, I don't see how it helps India. It will help Pakistan.
Okay, I mean, still weather updates tell us that the covers are on, so we'll be here for a lot longer. By the way, Deepak Barudu is calling Nikhil out, saying, why not just pick one more batter, Nikhil? Make one of our batters to bowl. Let's experiment like how Babar done with Salman today. Let's see how Kohli bowls. 3 all-rounders becoming a big problem. And he goes on to say, Nikhil, and you can answer him, picking 3 all-rounders is the problem. Even England dropped Moeen Ali during the World Cup. Why? Because uncertainty in performance.
No, but England dropped Moeen Ali and replaced him with Vokes.
हाँ वो तो ठीक है, but I mean, his main point is the fact that what Babar did today with Aga Salman,
See,
India should do that.
And we don't agree with it.
We don't
And
agree
that is
with it.
something we don't agree with it. That the best way to please go on, sir.
No, Nikhil, you finish it off. Fine.
See, the thing is, you always want that extra security, be it with the ball or with the bat. If you play Shami, you are saying that okay, let's take the premier bowler because on paper it looks better. Then you want, let's take the premier batter. He's bound to do better as he's a specialist batter. But it hasn't worked out for you, and the balance of the side goes out of the window when you take an extra batter or you take the extra bowler. These kind of situations also, you have Hardik who came good. Now, had Pakistan bowled pace, you lost Kishan early, then you would have seen the value of Shardul, or when you had a Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he's played chases with MS at the other end, where he's been able to defend and just rotate and get to the other end. So there are so many factors here where if you take an extra batter, you are going to compromise on your bowling ability. Now, do
Exactly.
you have a batter who is in form and you're not picking? Are you saying you want to pick Surya? We are already debating whether he should be part of the squad.
Yeah.
So the lower you go, eventually it's about roles. At this point of time, I think everyone in this side has very clear roles and they are doing the best they can. The one spot that is open is number 8, and which is where we've talked about in the last 2 months that's the only spot where you will see rotation. Where if it's a spinning day, you will see Akshar Patel there. So then you have that extra all-rounder, and it's a luxury. I don't think it can be seen in a way that it is a problem because you are getting 2 things in one person, and it's not too bad.
Correct.
So Shardul may not give you 50-60, but he did what he did in an IPL game. And that is what you have, that is what you want him to do. You don't want consistent runs. But and again, you have to be practical that if he's facing Shine and Roff, if a top order could not do, what are your expectations from a number
I
eight?
get that. But just to the bowling option, like what Salman gave Pakistan today, are we greedy in expecting the same thing from a Shreyas Iyer, for example? Because we keep saying, oh, Shreyas Iyer in a joking way is the Liam Livingston of India, off spin dalta hai, leg spin dalta hai. But surely it's the time for these ODIs to be done now rather than just throwing him in the deep end in the World Cup. So
it is not happening now. It won't happen then as well.
Exactly,
There's a
right?
difference. Aga Salman does it at the domestic level. Shreyas Iyer, Kohli, Rohit, none of them do it at the domestic level anymore. That's the
Yeah.
biggest difference. And the point is, see, for just to bowl a few over out of Kohli, why would you drop a proper 10 over bowler? The real question should be the question here is, let's say right now in India just had their batting innings done. Of course, they did not score as many runs as everyone would have wanted because everyone would have wanted 300 plus. Now think of it the other way. If they would have played an extra batter, scored 320, and Pakistan would have gone on to chase it. Same time, we'll come back with questions that, oh, there is a bowler shot. We don't have enough bowlers to defend it. So you have to have that balance. And at this point of time, Shardul Thakur is providing you with that balance because he can chip in either way. And there is one very good point that Nikhil mentioned. See, essentially, you need to know what you're looking for from batting depth. With this, see, if it comes down to India chasing 350, Shardul might sort of hit those winning runs, but ultimately you can't chase 350 with your top order failing. Your batting depth will help you when there are tough conditions and there are early wickets, and then you need someone to sort of just stay there with your set batter. And this is where someone like Shardul Thakur would be important. And second thing that you need to consider is who's the main bowler he's keeping out. He's not keeping out a Bumrah. If the question would be Shardul or Bumrah, then you can go with Bumrah because of course he adds more value. The point here is he's replacing Shami, who himself who's not set the stage on fire in ODI cricket. So that is why I think, in my opinion, this is not a debate. Right now, I understand the debate about Kishan, KL, Gill, but apart from that, everyone else is a lock in my opinion, and we are just complicating things for the sake of it.
Yeah, and just to add to the one point, when you know there is a Shardul Thakur, you can tell me 100 things, but the top order will bat differently. Yeah. When you know you have 4 number 11s, you saw what happened in the West Indies. I don't think we need to even go there. So your team, we saw what happened in the World Cup. Let's take that example as well. You had the batting depth, you played the extra batter there, but you never used him. So eventually, you can pick whoever you want. If you are able to fix roles and you are to give clarity to everyone that this is your role, this is what we expect from you, then they will do that job. Because in hindsight, we will always meet somebody who's not playing. So in that case, this is the best bunch. Let's back them and see what happens.
Exactly. Like whenever people watch the 2011 World Cup, no one thinking, yeah, Sachin and Sehwag will definitely bowl. They just were played as batters. If they can bowl, great. Nothing like it, but never.
They didn't bowl.
I mean, essentially, there were options, but they didn't bowl, but they could have bowled. Gurkirat, why didn't you take this? Because I really want to steer the conversation to the second innings. And lots of people are saying people are, of course, talking about how it didn't spin so much. In fact, Pranav Anand saying not much help for spinners or Pakistan bowlers didn't bowl well. Nawaz turned a couple of balls from straight off stump, and there's a bit of grip too. And I just want to put a depiction up because my producers are yelling at me right now for showing something that the viewers should see. It's Kuldeep against the Pakistani batters and how he fares against them. Now, he's only bowled to 2 of them, Babar Azam and Fakhar Zaman. He's got both of them out twice. And I also want to show you Babar versus Kuldeep generally in ODIs. He's not been able to get full control of him. So it makes me think, Gurkirat is gone.
His battery is dying.
His battery is dying.
Not his battery, the battery of his laptop, sorry.
The battery of his laptop. So, guys, how important is spin today, Nix? And will it be tough to grip the ball given the wetness around Kandy?
Yeah, it could be, but to be very honest, I'll want pace to do the job. You have Siraj up top. He loves to bowl to left-handers. You have Toos right up top. So you expect one very early. And then if Babar Azam is in early, you saw what Nepal also tried with him, that they bowled very straight to him at the start to get him out with the movement in the middle. But Babar Azam is Babar Azam for a reason. So he will find a way. So if you are able to keep him quiet and then there is enough movement, you have enough strong points in terms of Bumrah may not have gotten him out before, but if they can keep the pressure on him, then you have Siraj and Bumrah, and I'll hope that they only take care of him, because then when Kuldeep comes in, depending on the conditions, it may or may not be dewy. Usually, when there is rain around, the dew doesn't come into the picture. But then these conditions are not something that we can guess sitting so far away. So I'll hope the pace only does the job, and whenever spin comes, it is dry enough for Kuldeep to do his job.
I mean, if you look at India's innings, guys, not a single wicket to spin, all to pace. Do you think it's going to reflect that as well in the second innings, Gurkirat? Do you think India's pacers hold the key?
Paces will take the majority of the wickets, I feel, but I do expect a wicket apiece for Kuldeep and Jadeja. Uh, See, I feel the Indian spinners have a little more quality than the Pakistani spinners over here. So I do, and Kuldeep's been in outstanding form. So I think that will also have a part to play. Uh, so yeah, coming to that question that was asked by Pranav, I feel the rain sort of made sure that there was more moisture in the pitch, and then and hence there wasn't enough grip. Don't know if that would be the case once again over here, because uh, in that Bangladesh Sri Lanka game there was enough help for spinners. The ball was actually turning a lot. So, and this has also been a fresh pitch, so difficult to really say how it would behave. Maybe if there is another game on this one, we'll have a clearer picture. And yeah, pitch reading sometimes can be very difficult. You expect something else, it turns out to be completely another.
It is. Lots of people getting into the comments saying if overs are reduced, Pakistan target will be 254 and 45 overs, 239 and 40 overs, and 203 and 30 overs, and 155 and 20 overs. I don't know if that is advantage India or Pakistan.
The perfect game for India would be for the second innings to be washed off. कि भाई batting भी proper कर ली, bowlers को भी कुछ नहीं करना पड़ा, and now when
So
the
when
tournament starts in
when
September,
Ross up, when Rob said ja, Ishan can say batting Vasool.
ये तो गली क्रिकेट वाली बात हो गई. बैटिंग ओवर, चलो मम्मी ने बुला लिया, बैट लेके जा रहा हूँ, जो करना है कर लो. But I wanted to pitch in and say one thing about that 2011 World Cup, where people were talking about part timers and everything. See, cricket has changed a lot in these last 12 years. Early on, there was far more finger spin being bowled, and that in that 2011 World Cup, you had the ball change after the 34th over. So the ball used to get soft, and the spinners would come in and bowl in the middle overs with an extra fielder outside. Now you see more of wrist spin because the pitches have become flatter. There isn't as much help for finger spin. Even your regular finger spinners are not able to succeed. So your part timers have very little chance to succeed. And uh, in T20s, you can get away with an over or two with the right matchups. But when you have to bowl 5-6 overs, good batters will be able to line you up. And like I said, there is not enough the same protection. You have only four fielders outside. And one of the reasons wrist spin has had a bigger role to play is because you want those kind of bowlers who can take the pitch sort of out of equation. So it's become a lot harder for part-time spinners to come and bowl effectively. It's not just the case with the Indian team. Yes, with the Indian team, the injuries, Rohit having another injury, Virat having a back injury, Shreyas having a back injury, this is going to have an effect on it. I mean, Shreyas Iyer is not going to hurt his back further by trying to bowl when he knows that he can make a decent enough contribution with the bat. The same can be said about Virat. Same can be said about Rohit too. We've already seen that. I believe somewhere KL keeping might have had an effect on his injury too, because keeping is not an easy job. So a lot of things have changed. There's far more cricket being played. Players are more protective about their bodies. So it's not as easy to develop a secondary skill if you're not in that habit of having that skill right from your you know uh, younger days, or from the grassroots level. It's very difficult to develop that then.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, lots of people pouring in their comments. I really can't not show them. Agrim Jain, this is moved on topic, I would say. The ship has sailed surely on Washington. So that definitely he's not going to get a sniff before the World Cup, maybe after.
He is in the Asian Games squad. No matter what Rohit has said, doors are still open for everyone. But Asian Games are played simultaneously with the World Cup. So you can't have one person playing both.
Yeah, for sure. Rajesh Jha also getting involved in the chat saying finger spin works. Yes, he succeeded in finger spin alone, no wrist spin. Knicks.
But that's
I
a
said
different format.
in
It's a
T20s
different
you have
format.
an extra
See,
fielder
the
outside.
point here is what you have to realize is the part timer also that you are asking for, it has to be quality.
Yeah.
You've seen what has happened when people have tried to get overs in, something that I discussed in the Sri Lanka Bangladesh game, that Shanaka was wanting to get overs out of himself and the others rather than attacking. We discussed this so much as well that he could have easily bowled Thikshina. So
Yeah.
when your regular bowlers are you are not able to get their overs in, forget all that. Pakistan today bowled Shadab and Nawaz in tandem to get their overs out. They are your primary spinners. If your primary spinners whose primary job role is to get wicket via spin, if they are not doing well, see the point here is not about going after Salman Ali Agha. The
Yeah.
point is to getting him to bowl. The point is to force them to get him to bowl so that you are able to attack others. And they Kishan did go after Mohammad Nawaz later.
Yeah.
So you have to play this very smartly, and ODI is a different format. In as Padi said, in T20s, the margins are such that you can afford to err because the guy could go for 17 and still take 2 wickets. But that is not the case in ODIs because the guys will not go for 70. So the margin of error is less in ODI because the quality is what will show up eventually.
T20 has one ball only. ODI cricket has two. So in a sense, if you are bowling at the end of the 30 over mark, or if you are bowling at the end of the 15 over mark, you are essentially bowling with the same ball. That the having two balls in ODI cricket is a big factor. If there was only single ball, or you had ball change only after the 34th over, for a period of 7-8 overs, you could even see reverse swing in ODI
Exactly.
cricket, and it's not something that we have not seen. We have seen it in Asia. The ball was reverse swinging in the 2011 World Cup, especially when India were playing on abrasive pitches. That pitch in 2011 in Ahmedabad, there was a period of 5-6 overs where Zahir, where from one end Zahir was able to extract reverse swing. Two new balls is a huge factor in terms of ODI cricket. It really
And also
hampers
the rule. And the
bowling
rule.
side.
It is massive. We cannot discount having a less person inside the ring.
Yeah.
That is it
Yeah. Yeah.
is game changing.
Which, yeah, it's a huge factor as well. I mean, talk about the balls, talk about the fielding conditions. Guys, there is going to be a pitch inspection at 9 p.m., which is 13 minutes away. But lots of people in the chat contributing with random things. For example, Sridhar goes on to say Pakistan will qualify if they score 60 runs. I think Chachan saying, hope our bowlers keep up the pressure and the fielders do the job. And there's some two other good questions. One, of course, surrounding Ishan Kishan, guys, and I have to throw this at y'all because Neural Hacks with Vasant is absolutely dominated the chat with this question. He's saying, I would like to see Ishan Kishan's home at the top as a counter to left-arm seamers and play KL and Shreyas if they are fit. How does this sound to you?
I mean, we'll come back to this post the Asia Cup. If Gill consistently fails, then this is the most likely prospect, in my opinion.
Okay. And what about this one from Pranav Anand then? Is Ishan Kishan having a good run or has he sorted out his weakness? I'm thinking the former. Everyone has a weakness, but it seems like it's relatively easier to plan versus him compared to, say, someone like Rahul.
Okay, I mean, maybe someone else can take it, but I'll just say one thing and we'll spare the details to Gurkirat and Nikhil. One thing that I really like about Ishan Kishan is he sort of relieves pressure of himself by going for a high risk boundary option, and in this space it has often worked for him. Today also he just hit that 6 and it sort of gets him going, which with a few other Indian batters is not always the case. They go back to them into their shell and do not really try to basically going with the cliched line, transfer the pressure back to the bowling side.
Yeah, I think that's a fair spot in that assessment.
Yeah, but I mean, let's still answer the question if someone else wants to take it.
Gurkirat, what has he worked on? How has he sorted his weakness out? Ishan Kishan?
I'm not sure if the weakness has been sorted out completely because I've not really seen a change in technique. But I think he's become more aware. See, one weakness that's been there is his lack of strike rotation, and then you could even say that his feet movement against pace hasn't been that great. So many times he's just playing with the hands. I don't think there has been a major technical change as such, but I feel that he's become aware of the fact that he can't afford to bat in only two gears, because that will also allow bowlers to plan better against him. So I think now he's actively trying to find ways wherein he can try and find that single opportunity or just turn over the strike. And today, the one of the things that I liked about his innings was that he was able to change that strike over. I'm not going back to that innings versus West Indies, because he was opening and he had the advantage of the power play, where he was able to find those boundary options, and despite playing the dots, his strike rate was decent. But today, I think he really realized that he cannot afford to get stuck at one end, because then bowlers will have it easy against him. So that is one thing. I think he's aware of it. We'll have to see. This is only his first innings in the middle order. Middle order. We'll have to wait and see how he does against in the remaining matches in the Super Fours, and then the three ODIs versus Australia if he gets to play them. How does he do it then? Probably even in the warm ups, because one one innings in the middle order is too short a sample space to conclude anything.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, Advite Anand going on to say, keeping the current match aside, guys, do you folks think press conferences and transparency by the management ensure that Indian cricket, it's a no-brainer for sure. Like
75 minutes का episode किया है इस पे.
exactly, go check that out. And also, Gurkirat made a little funny quote, but Pranav Anand going on to quote Mazhar Arshad saying T20 has one ball, ODI has two balls, and Mari Goodwin has three balls. If you
Yeah.
guys know, you know. Harun Iqbal going on to ask new Nikhil, sir, can we see an early bouncer to Imam by Siraj?
I think Siraj loves to use the short ball, and he's someone who's very skiddy as well. So the height at which Siraj gets the ball to bounce is fairly different to your normal other kind of releases. So definitely we'll see that. I think whatever the conditions are, hopefully there should still be some swing early. So I'll want him first to focus on that length, and if he is able to nick off Imam, that is a better way to get him out. But yeah, I think you will see the short ball to keep them honest and keep them stuck in the crease, so that you can follow the bouncer up with a good Yorker. Or even I think it was Siraj, Bumrah, all of them have tried a very full ball very early to a lot of lefties.
Yeah.
Bumrah planned it to Gale for a long time to bowl to him in the World Cup. Bumrah only bowled him to Siraj, bowled to Khwaja in when he faced him in the BJT. So I'll not rule that out as well. A very full ball very early to one of the two lefties.
Yeah, just on when on I was doing my show on Thursday, Pranav himself, asked that can we get numbers of batters who've done well against the short ball when we were talking about Hardik. So Imam has actually, Anirudh gave me the stat that Imam has scored some 221 runs against the short ball, and he's actually done it well. So if Siraj is actually going for the short ball, want him to do that versus Fakar, because sometimes Fakar gets into a tangle of sorts against the short ball. With Imam, I still feel he manages it a lot better. But yeah, against
But
Fakar,
who's the bigger threat, Imam or Fakar? Fakar, right? Surely.
Fakar is more mercurial, but Imam's consistent. Imam, if he gets his eye in, you know that he'll keep runs sticking at one end. He will ensure that there is
But
one
look at
anchor to
what this
that.
man has done, bro. This fucker, he's a mad guy. He's literally having, I was going to say fucker like performances, but 101 so, 117, 180. Should Indian fans be concerned? ये पागल आदमी है भाई.
But ये reverse order में last
वो reverse order है.
yeah. So
हाँ,
his
ठीक
last
है.
few have been 30, 20 and 14. I
ठीक
mean,
है, वो तो ठीक है. I mean, you remember the Champions Trophy, right? That no ball that Bumrah got him out on.
Everyone does.
Everyone does.
I don't know which game you're talking about.
But no,
So, yeah. These
speaking
guys
of
have deleted it out of their memories.
no, but look, speaking of that year, Rajesh Jha going on to ask us, why does India look like the second team since 2017 as if more under pressure? Som, you agree? Second team since 2017.
In main games, yes. I mean, they sort of play as if they are more under pressure. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt about that.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but since 2017 is a little unfair. India really had a very good campaign in 2019. Yeah, I mean that just one bad phase or bad day or bad 2 days sort of take the shine away. But post
45
2019,
minutes. 45 minutes. Bad 45 minutes.
yeah, I mean some people would like to believe had the game finished in the same day, probably things could have been different. That's why I'm saying bad 2 days, because luck also plays a part. But I think it's fair to say, after post 2019, definitely I agree that in major tournaments, India have lacked that punch.
The punch. I don't know if you guys saw this earlier, but basically, I was on the way to office and I had to record this for Gurkirat because I don't know if he's agnostic or if he believes in gods, but we have to play out a clip because it happens pretty much every time India Pakistan play each other, right? And this is what I managed to get on my way to office today. Gurkirat, check this out. You look at those, and it's Hardik and Kishan. They're praying, and those are the ones who got the 80s, bro. Who said God doesn't exist?
And you have to see they had a red ball. They know the ball will feel like a test match to begin with. So yeah.
I'm just thinking, if anyone would have logged in right now, you would think, "Bhai, kya chal raha hai is channel mein?"
In fact, many people saying for a moment, literally, Indian Peter Pan saying, "I thought I saw Shrimpy Shaw sitting there." Hilarious, honestly. Look, we never stop entertaining you guys in the preview and the reviews. Gurkirat, I mean, they should have probably had a Virat Kohli one, properly done up, man. He could have got the runs today.
I really don't know what to say because
I'll send those exact pujaris when Delhi Capitals are playing. Maybe you can give them a couple of pictures.
the pujaris will say we don't know what to do. They'll say ki
Pujaris have to deal with Ponting first.
वो 15 मिनट गुरकीरत से बात करेंगे, फिर वो भी ये बोलेंगे कि पूजा बाद में होगी, पहले पॉन्टिंग को हटाओ.
No, they'll say कुछ भी कर लो, कृपा नहीं आने वाली यहाँ पर. See, I mean, on a very philosophical note, if I'm allowed to go on that note, I don't know if Avnish will make jokes on it later or not, but
I will, but go ahead.
See, I feel you have to do what is always in your control and what you can do best, and then you can leave things on faith, you can leave things on destiny, you can leave them on luck, whatever you want. But if you are just
he's not allowed to speak. It's destiny and fate for you not to.
मेरा नेट ही चला गया. Am I audible?
It's destiny and fate, bro. You couldn't complete your thing.
Am I audible?
No, you're not. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. In fact, see you, Gurkirat. Bye. Literally disconnected him from the show. We don't need Gurkirat anymore. Honestly, guys, just tired of him. Tired of his Wi-Fi problems. And tired of him saying, "Yeah, light chala gaya, yaar. Yeah, Swiggy ka khana mangwaya, yaar." All of that bullshit excuses. Guys, another graphic being thrown out by a wonderful creative team right now. We'll get Gurkirat back on. I'm just messing around. But early strikers, we talk about Shaheen. We saw it with Shaheen, guys. But Nixon, Som, is it actually Mia magic? Because even the numbers suggest so, Som.
I mean, he's still the number one ODI bowler, if I'm not mistaken. So that has to count for something. He has been a revelation because I remember around 2020, there was a period when India were really struggling with new ball wickets. And we saw all these stats around how India is averaging 120 or 90 or 100 in the first 10 overs or things like that. So, but since Siraj has come into the fold, all of that has changed. So that's a positive. I think this next 1.5 months will actually define his reputation if he's of the same level of the Pakistan Pacers. But he has the ingredients. But I mean, this is the period that will count.
This will be the period which is count. Right, let's just add Gurkirat on back with us because I was just really taking the piss. Gurkirat, let's just wrap up this mid-innings chat, guys, because it's going on for way too long and we've addressed every particular question out there. What will be the positives for India with the ball in hand? We've spoken about with the bat in hand. Gurkirat, you start, then Nix, then Som, and then we'll wrap proceedings. What would you like to see?
Bumrah delivering a good spell and Shardul doing well with the ball. I think from the bowling perspective, these things are the two most important things, because if Shardul doesn't have a good outing with the ball, then all the chat will be again about how taking Shami would have been the right call. I anyway feel that making these conclusions on just one game is never a good idea, but that is what still happens in public discourse. So these are the two things that I look forward to the most: a good 10 over spell by Bumrah and a good spell by Shardul. Everything else, I think, is will get sorted eventually. Hardik's been bowling well with the new balls. Raj has been doing well. Kuldeep's been doing well. Jadeja, I think, will figure out how to do well on these pitches. That way, I think with the ball he's been doing well. So the two bowlers, Bumrah and Shardul.
Nix, I know it's not going to be the whole 50 overs, but I'm guessing Hardik will probably bowl around 6-7 overs, similar with Shardul.
See, I don't think there is a need in terms of the number to it. As long as they are able to find value and they feel that okay, he can bowl more, bowl more. If they want to bowl him less, bowl less. Because we have to remember even Kishan had cramps and was tiring, and he has to keep wickets. So I think workload management will be very important. So he may not be needed to bowl all six, or may have to bowl more than that as well. So I'll just keep all the options open, but ensure workload is managed as well, because that is very critical, because a lot of ODIs are to be played very in a back-to-back manner, and you haven't had that kind of a season. So managing bodies will be very critical.
So, final word with you. Gurkirat wants to see Bumrah. Lots of people in the chat want to see Siraj. Do you want to see anyone really excel with the ball today?
No, I agree with Bumrah and Shardul. Bumrah, so I just want to see. I hope he has the intensity. He manages to keep his intensity for all 10 overs. Shardul definitely, because there'll be a lot of fire if he doesn't take wickets. The third bowler that I'm really interested to see is Kuldeep. Challenging conditions, he might find it difficult to grip the ball. It is only going to be a good test for him. And again, like with Siraj, Kuldeep has done well, but this is the period that counts. And if India are going to continue playing Shardul, Kuldeep plays a very important role as that third main bowler. He has to sort of click for India. It's. I mean, India cannot win the World Cup without Kuldeep Yadav delivering big. So that's the three things on the personal level. At an overall level, I want Pakistan to put some pressure on India, and so that they get tested. This is a proper game to get tested, just like the batting got tested properly.
Yeah, we would love a close game. Let's see if it really unravels that way. Guys, we'll be back, of course, reviewing the game actually in its completion. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but right now, the latest update I can give you from Pallekele is that it stopped raining. It might be spitting down, but not anything threatening anymore. But the covers are still on for the safe side, and they're inspecting the pitch, the ground, the umpires around there having a chat. We also showed you the DLS and what the requirements will be there for Pakistan. If you guys missed it, don't worry. Catch it on the cricket.com website on the live blog. Anirudh Suresh, our boy, is on that with some fantastic stats and nuggets from the first innings as well. Gurkirat, Somesh, Nikhil, you guys have been brilliant as ever, as have the chat, because the chat has now got so bored that they're starting to talk about football and Tottenham Hotspurs. So honestly, love you guys in the chat. Join us after the match, whenever that is. It could be a 20-over contest, 30-over contest. You never know, but surely there will be some more things that we can talk about from this game. Join us in that one. Until the next time, so goodbye from us. Like this video and check out the rest of our content on cricket.com. Until the next time, so goodbye from us. We'll see you shortly. Eat dinner, well, Saturday night, and probably on the booze. We'll see you shortly. Cheers. Bye, guys.